Hey, what's going on out there? YouTube family, this is Samuel Legge here representing Team JVS. This is the second part review, which normally I don't do, but I was able to watch a portion of The Sound of Metal during the Middleburg, Virginia 2020 virtual film festival. So I was able to finish it and finish watching it. I want to give you my remaining thoughts and my official rating after watching the movie in its entirety. So I went and I talked around the sculpture around the film, the way it was actually done from a sound standpoint and from the execution of bringing you in that immersive process of how Ruben is going through everything that he's going through. You really feel it, and I'll definitely harp on that even more so because there's a pivotal moment towards the back half of the second act to the third act that Ruben makes a decision, and that decision, it changes the whole entire story. And for better or for worse, like it definitely changes him as well. And when it happened, like I was kind of like, what are the ramifications behind this? And there's a conversation that he has with Paul Rusty's character Joe that was one of the most heartbreaking, well executed, acted performances throughout the entirety of the film. There's another one that happens with Olivia Cooke towards the end, towards the very end, that it was really just emotional mannerisms and execution where the thing that really drove that process home from Riz Ahmed's performance as well. And I think that it was executed very well. I think it was very well acted in making this not an over-the-top performance, but making it feel stationary, making it feel visceral and real, and wasn't just for gimmicks. Like, this is something that could be an actual situation. Because to be honest with you, the story in and of itself, I felt like it feels like an actual story that somebody actually went through, especially the way that they ended. Because the way they ended, it wasn't this cookie cutter fairy tale ending. It very much so was a very bleak end. And it left me kind of emotionally like, oh, come on, man. You know, that's kind of how I really felt. That doesn't demean the story. It just, its effectiveness to have this be rewatchable, because there's basically some things that were set up in the second act through Ruben's transformation and elevation and process through all of this, that I was kind of like, this is really captivating, this is really inspiring, but I knew that he had to face his past ultimately, and of course he has to, you know, and it's just very different. It's very different, and I think it's not going to be easily digestible for everybody. I think some people are going to be put off by the ending. I personally was even put off by the ending because I was kind of like, I need a little bit more here, just one more, you know, something of a scene, because the things that were happening with Ruben while he was at the facility, while he was at the rehabilitation, I thought all that, every part of it was very essential. They're not just people that are dealing and suffering with addiction, but people that are trying to get through life. People just trying to survive in a day-to-day basis. And I think that it was just done so well that I was kind of like, you know, when we had to transition away from that, I kind of felt like how Ruben felt towards the third act when he had to kind of distance himself even from that, which was hard. I think emotionally it was actually really hard, but I think that's also executed very well from a director standpoint. Darius Martyr played the role in this one. Matthew Umrick played the role of Richard. He had maybe like one or two scenes, but they were very effective. A lot of exposition heavy from a script standpoint, but I think that he executed really well. Lauren Ridloff, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I really wanted more from her character specifically, because they did some things that I was kind of like, this is very fascinating. But I mean, again, this goes on the more realistic kind of story. So from a story standpoint, I think that some people might be put off of it. It's not going to be one that you're like, rewatch this again. And maybe if it was, I think that, you know, it would have amped up, you know, my thought process on the film as a whole. But that doesn't demean the performance. That doesn't mean the execution. Doesn't demean the way the sound immersion when there's silence or when there's fading or when there's communication, and even just watching like Ruben dealing with the actual auditory situation versus what we hear versus what other people perceive that he's hearing. I think that was one part that was really well done in this film specifically. So as far as a whole, I'll give this a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. It's gonna be hard for me to recommend people go and watch it over and over again, but I think you need to watch it at least once. Like, I think that Riz Ahmed does a very convincing performance, and I think it's very intriguing because one thing that they didn't do is they didn't glorify his slide to addiction in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, this whole entire movie, there's never this ramped up. Normally in executed movies like this, the addiction is the thing that you're like, that's the part of this you're worried and fading from. And it's there, but they find a way. I don't know how they did it. They found a way of making sure that was something that is a fear, that is, a detriment, without really showing a lot of it, which is really strange. I don't know how they got away with that, but I think a big part of it came by the scripting and the execution of performances, specifically from Riz Ahmed and Paul Raci's Joe. I think that their performances really showcased, the people that are coming from the depths of addiction, and I think that was just done so well by them specifically that you didn't even need to see those specific moments. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Definitely go and check out Sound of Metal as soon as you can, and yeah, talk to you guys later. Keep it locked, JBS. We ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.